Well, hey, Mile family, I'm back and I'm getting ready to talk about the vicious cycle of mouth breathing. But first, a couple things. So we used to do Myo minutes, and we know that I never talk for just a minute. But we're going to kind of shake it up a little bit so that we're going to start labeling these as episodes. So the reason that is because I get lots of new followers, new people who fall into this rabbit hole of Myo, and they have a lot of questions. And so I think it would be really helpful if I was able to say, hey, go back to episode 1. That is the vicious cycle of mouth breathing. So we're going to start doing that. And more so, it's for me and for those of you who are searching. So it's going to just be like my library catalog. So with that said, we will call this episode 1 of the Myo Minute. On these Myo Minutes, I do try and keep these between 5 and 10 minutes. Unfortunately, a lot of what I teach about, my expertise, all of that kind of stuff, this isn't just a minute, okay? So some are shorter, some are longer. But again, there's a pause button if you need it. So in this episode, which we're going to call number 1, I'm going to be talking about the vicious cycle of mouth breathing. Okay, but first let's talk about who I am. Lots of people who have been with me here for quite some time, but a lot of you guys are new. So I am just going to direct you to learn more about me. Find your way to my Instagram. You might be watching this somewhere else. So I'm at the tongue trainer, and look at my highlights. Specifically, you want to look for the meet me and the work with me highlight. That's going to help you figure out your readiness to work with somebody like me. It's really important that we align. I'm very specific in the type of people that I want to work with. And really, in a nutshell, that has to be somebody who is ready. I can't want it more than you. So that's really important. So you'll learn a little bit about me, what it's like to work with me, okay? So that's the first thing. So go find that in the highlight. So let's talk about the vicious cycle of mouth breathing. Because one of the things that I do as a therapist is we work to make nasal breathing the chosen way to breathe, okay? So a lot of people are mouth breathing. That can be from a number of reasons. That can be just from chronic congestion, because it can be allergies. So you got to kind of consider, is my mouth breathing more of a habit? Or is it a reaction? Is it a problem? Is it something? Is it inflammation? Also, as I take my deeper dive down the nutritional therapy practitioner path, there's so much that I have learned about digestion, and I definitely see like, hey, a lot of these things are tied together. But in this episode, we're talking about mouth breathing. So when I'm working with somebody and their mouth breathing, we're looking at a couple different things. The congestion, the allergies, the alcohol, the dairy, the gluten, the sugar, all of those things, whatever for your body causes inflammation. But really, specifically, I want to talk about you as a human, how you were created, which contributes to the vicious cycle of mouth breathing. So your brain is super smart, and it thinks that the only way that you breathe is through your nose. Now, our mouth is there just for the emergency breathing. It's for your emergency backup, okay? So that you don't die the first time you have a stuffed up nose as a kiddo. So what happens is when you're mouth breathing, you're disrupting that oxygen carbon dioxide balance. That causes your brain to say, oh my gosh, you're letting out too much carbon dioxide too fast. We have to bring things back into balance. So the brain instructs the cells in the nose to secrete more mucus, trying to pump the brakes on that CO2 that's going out. However, the CO2 is going out the mouth. So that causes the congestion. And so it's a real congestion cycle. I've shared this a lot about my journey. I used to take 4 allergy pills a day because that's what I had to do to be able to breathe. And as I was transitioning from a mouth breather to a nasal breather, I had to continue to use those and kind of titrate off of those. So this might be you. you might be saying, I'm contributing, my mouth breathing is contributing to my congestion habit, or my congestion problem. And one other thing that I encourage you to lean into is, when are you experiencing that congestion? Are you experiencing that in the morning? So most of my clients who are mouth breathers and who were working to switch over, they are most congested in the morning. And that's not just because it's morning, you guys. It's because that you probably sat and, or you sat, you laid, you snored, you mouth breathed, you did all of that during the night. So most of my clients who are doing some sort of mouth breathing do find that they're congested in the morning. With that said, I also have a lot of clients who thought that they did not mouth breathe at night until they really leaned into their symptoms: dry mouth, nasty tasting mouth, dry chapped lips, and then that congestion in the morning. So that's kind of like, hey, maybe something's going on. So I hope that is helpful to you. Ultimately, just knowing that the longer that you're mouth breathing, the longer you're going to be doing this habit that's completely unhealthy for you, and it's going to take a little bit more elbow grease to fix. So explore. And that's the best you can do. But I want you to understand why chronic congestion is a real problem with mouth breathing. The other thing is there's things that get thrown in there, like a deviated septum, swollen nasal turbinates. Those type of things are just going to make it really hard. So one of the things you do have to make sure is that your plumbing is good here so that you can nasal breathe. But that's a whole nother episode. To learn more, you can find a lot of great information on my website, YouTube, social media, wherever you are consuming my content. There's a lot of information in the highlights, and we will continue to add to that so it's a robust library for you. Okay, so what to do if you have questions. I don't answer specific questions about cases because I just don't know anything about you. Your child. I don't give second opinions about what your doctor is saying. I don't give second opinions about what another therapist is doing for you. The best place to start, if you want questions and you want to give me information so that I know something about your case, you can book an exam. But if you have a general question, you can submit it to thetonguetrainer@gmail.com. And we just pull from those when it's time to do an episode like this of a question that somebody has. The other thing is watch for the post where we do this question sticker, and you can post it there as well. As a practitioner, I cannot comment on your case, your questions, until I know something about you. And I'm very adamant that I'm not going to make myself look like an idiot when I don't have all of the pieces of the puzzle, okay? The other thing is I'm very respectful of the clients who have paid for my time and expertise through an exam. So unfortunately, I can't dispense, and I'm not going to dispense that knowledge to other people who just email me in the DMs. So please know that that's not where I spend any time. And so if you have a message there, then it's going to get overlooked because that's not something that we take a look at. The best place to start, hands down, is with an exam. This gets you some time in my schedule to talk face to face. We get to take a deep dive about what's going on, and I get to know more about you. Then I can start giving you some guidance. Sometimes I'm not the first place to start. Sometimes I have to wait while we address some other things that you've got going on. So an exam is the best place to start. And then always to end these episodes, I like to talk about my favorite resources. I have a lot of them for you. Oftentimes I will refer you back to highlights, but today I want to talk about a couple free downloads that you can have. For parents, this is by far the root cause resolution workbook and video. So when you download that workbook, you get the video. I think it's a couple-hour lecture. This is a free masterclass that I did for parents because parents just don't know this stuff, okay? So find that. And then for adults, it's the Getting Started Guide. So this is just going to kind of help you understand what this process looks like. But quite honestly, I truly think the best way to start is with an exam. So I'm going to wrap this up because it's been many minutes. I will see you next time with a new episode of the Myo Minute. Bye for now.